We're back. We are back for episode 9 of season 3. Finally, it has been a few days. Sorry for no episode last week, y'all. Dante and I were busy.
Yeah.
Luke, you can prove that because you know how hard I was working on stuff. But
Yeah.
we're back for season 3, episode 9, predicting week 10. As always, we're your hosts, Adam.
Dante.
And Luke.
Let's get going, boys. We're starting off with the fantasy leaders. And look at that beautiful picture. How do you do that?
Best play
You're
I've ever seen.
you're asking the
I
wrong
don't
person.
know.
I don't
Like
know.
how?
I
Okay.
honestly think it was better than the Saquon. I mean, not the Odell catch. I mean, I think it's harder to do than that.
Might be more, yeah, it's probably more clever, like harder to do. You're right. That's the right word.
Yeah, you have a point, honestly.
Yeah, because we see one-handed catches all the time, but we've never seen a backwards hurdle, like
Ever.
quite literally ever.
Did you
I
guys
will.
hear my text go through on my computer or no?
No, no, you're good.
Okay, good,
Glad to
good.
hear.
Because I had my volume go up. I was just wondering if that would be an issue. All right. But let's recap the fantasy leaders this week, y'all. That was week 9. We are now halfway through the season. By the way, if you have not seen, go to our Instagram. Our midseason award winners are posted. Go check it out. But let's recap the fantasy leaders this week. No ties, 10 guys. Let's do it. Number 10, wide receiver of the Rams, Demarcus Robinson, had 27.4 points against the Seahawks on the road. Number 9, Alvin Kamara, running back of the Saints against my Panthers on the road, had 27.5. Doesn't matter. Y'all lost. Number 8, DeAndre Hopkins of the Chiefs. He's finally back, 28.6 points in a Monday Night Football win over the Bucks. And then on to number 7, 29.14 points for Joe Burrow against the Raiders, quarterback of the Bengals. Number 6, 29.7 points for Zay Flowers, wide receiver of the Ravens, in an insane game against Denver. But on to our top 5. Quarterback of the Eagles, Joe Burrow, slots in at the number 5. Joe Burrow. Jeez, what am I saying? Sorry, guys. I'm tired today. Too much election. Jalen Hurts, 29.9 points, number 5 spot. Number 4, Garrett Wilson, 30 points on the dot against the Houston Texans on Thursday night. He made a really nice one-handed catch. Speaking
That
of the
was,
NFL catch we were talking about,
Yes, yeah.
and
that
it's a
was pretty
shame it
amazing.
kind of got overshadowed by Saquon's play, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. But on to our top 3, 32.1 points for Devon Achane against the Bills. In the number 2 spot, the man in the picture, Saquon, with 32.9 against the Jaguars. And number 1 this week, shout out, wide receiver U, 37 points for Ohio State's Jackson Smith and Jigba. Shout out.
Interesting.
As far as number of appearances on the top 10 this year, that was the 4th for Saquon, 3rd for Achane, Wilson, and Kamara, and 2nd for Hurts and Burrow. So cool. Also want to say, speaking of Ohio State, good game, y'all. I know you don't want to talk about it, but I'm just saying good game. That's all.
It wasn't a good game.
It
I
was
think
not a good
refs
game
were
at
on your
all.
side heavily that game, and I'm not usually a guy to say that, but I think that's how I saw it, to be honest with you.
It was not a good game at all.
And also horrible play calling by James Franklin.
That was terrible.
Yeah, it yeah did not run the
I
ball,
mean,
did not get Tyler Warren involved. But anyway, this is NFL.
yeah, good game in that sense, but
Good game. Yeah, it was
not fun.
whatever.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it.
Anyway,
All right.
Mhm.
Now we're just gonna quickly recap. The trade deadline happened yesterday. Had a few more trades go down. Just go around the board. Talk about your favorite trade. I know the Steelers made some moves, so Dante, I'll let you go first. I'll let you recap what the Steelers did.
yeah, I mean the story for the Steelers going into the trade deadline was obviously wide receiver. Um, and we went out and got somebody. And I was texting you guys this morning, and I was like, I kind of call it this, but yeah, Steelers trade one of their 2 5th-round picks to get Mike Williams from the Jets. Um, you know, I was really hoping for a guy like Cortland Sutton or like DK Metcalf, but of the guys that were actually realistically going to get traded and traded to us, um, I'm all for Mike Williams. The Steelers, you know, they really have a trend of guys who have been like run out of town on their previous team and bringing them in and have them succeed a little bit, mainly with quarterbacks. But um, now I guess Mike Williams uh, adds to that list because, like, Justin Fields had struggled in Chicago, Russell Wilson struggled in Denver, Mike Williams struggled in New York, but also had some good years in LA. So I think this is a good move for us. He fits our offensive scheme. He's a good 50-50 ball guy, like George Pickens, but he's also an underrated run after catch guy too. So yeah, I bet he'll get some red zone targets, and he's a solid number two for us. And then Steelers went out and got Preston Smith from the Packers for a seventh round pick. Also, I mean, if you look at the Steelers defense, there aren't many holes or weaknesses, if any. But the one place I think we needed to address was edge rusher depth, because after TJ and Highsmith, I mean, you have Herbig, but after that, it's really nobody. So I think adding Preston Smith to go along with like Nick Herbig, um, once TJ and Highsmith need to come out for whatever reason, I think that's big. Yeah, he's a big addition to our defense, and you know, he was a key part of that Packer defense whenever he was there. 2.5 sacks this year, about 8 or 9 last year. So under the radar guy, but I'm sure he'll be solid for us. So yeah, very happy with the Steelers deadline.
Good stuff. Panthers made a very small move yesterday. Traded Jonathan Mingo for a fourth round pick. I mean, I'm happy with it. Jonathan Mingo barely played here, was a draft pick in a previous regime. So I don't blame them for wanting to move on. And now we have an official wide receiver room of Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, and whenever he's back, Adam Thielen, which I'm happy with. I like the receiving room we have. We also traded Deontay Johnson last week, I believe, for a fifth round pick. We swapped picks with Baltimore. That one I'm not really losing sleep over either. So yeah, I mean, we didn't do too much, but I think we made some good moves. Luke, didn't the Patriots make a move? Josh Uche, right?
yeah, that was a little bit ago, but we traded him to, I want to say Detroit.
Kansas City, I think.
Oh yeah, Kansas City. That was rumored for a long time, Detroit. Just a little bit disappointing just because we all thought he was gone in the offseason, then he signed a 1 year extremely team friendly deal and tweeted I couldn't imagine playing for any of the other 31 teams and that he wanted to retire a Patriot. And not 6 months later, he is playing for the back-to-back champs. But I didn't have a lot of opinion on that. I'm here for the Keon White breakout year, and everything the Patriots right now, it's just building blocks instead of pieces in stone. So getting a draft pick for him, I think we just got a seventh or a sixth. It just kind of was, and it is what it is kind of trade.
All right.
You want to talk about the other ones? Like,
Yeah, you see the rest of them real quick. Lattimore went to the Commanders. I probably, in my opinion, I think that was the biggest trade we saw.
mhm.
Darius Smith to Detroit, that was pretty much expected. Khalil Herbert to the Bengals, cool. I mean, I didn't know they really needed a running back, but
They just lost Zach Moss for the year.
oh, that would make sense then.
They still have Chase Brown, who's having a fairly
Yeah.
decent year. So,
Yeah. Yep.
yeah, I don't think any of these moves really, I mean, except for like maybe Lattimore and Zadarius Smith, move the needle that much for teams. But during the trade deadline, if you're a buyer, you're really just trying to like add depth or add a key piece, like in the Steelers sense with Mike Williams. But yeah, not the most eventful deadline, but still pretty entertaining.
I mean, just imagine how good Cincinnati would be like if they had somebody like Joe Mixon. That would be scary.
Imagine. Surely he wouldn't be overrated as hell if he was in Cincinnati right now. Anyway,
Let's move on. We are here, week 10. The season, as I mentioned, is halfway over. Insane. We're on to Thursday night in week 10. I will say before we start, there are 4 teams on by this week. Cleveland, Green Bay, Las Vegas, and Seattle. If you have a player on your fantasy team from those teams, sit them this week. They're not playing. But anyways, Ravens, Bengals. These matchups always deliver. They're always fun. It's a good start to the week.
mhm.
But who do we think is going to win this time? Ravens won the first one, and it was very close. So, what are we thinking, boys?
I could go first since I'm the AFC North rep. Um, both of these teams, no matter how they're playing throughout the season, and this goes for the entirety of the AFC North, no matter how the teams are playing up until that game, they always these whenever they play each other, they bring the best uh, out of each other, I guess. And that was on display in the first game, as both of these teams. It was an insane game. What was it, like 41-38 was the final score, or something around that?
Went to
Um,
overtime, I think.
yeah, in Cincinnati, which was that was a incredible game. But I like Baltimore to sweep the Bengals this year. Um, Playing in Baltimore is a really tough place to play, and as you mentioned, Zach Moss out for the year. The Bengals are a little bit more banged up. Um, yeah, I like Baltimore here.
Luke, do you know?
I, I agree. I like Baltimore. I agree that these games always are must see TV, the AFC North, but I think I can get into that a little bit later if we touch on the division more. Right now, the Ravens, despite being in second in the division, I think are in a league of their own. I suppose you could say besides Chiefs just because of the record, but I don't see anybody really being able to handle everything the Ravens can throw at them right now.
Yeah, I'm going to make it a clean sweep here, especially because this is a night game in M&T Bank Stadium. The Ravens are debuting their beautiful purple alternate helmets. Those things are gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
But yeah, night games in Baltimore just don't seem to go well for anyone except for the Ravens. So I think the Bengals could make this game close and interesting, but I think I'm going to take Baltimore to win this one. So, all right, quick and easy start. On to the fun one. Germany. You're getting a banger here. I wish I was serious with that. But got to point out, we're rocking the Bryce is Right shirt today because he is the right answer for QB1. And it was confirmed not too long ago that he will be starting once again. Third consecutive start for Bryce Young. I got to say, the benching has definitely helped this man. The first 2 weeks of the season, he looked completely lost on the football field. Horrible, horrible start. These last 2 weeks, the stats don't show the full picture. He has 3 interceptions in 2 games, but it's really 2 interceptions in 2 games. His interception last week was a deep ball to Xavier Legette, which was caught and stolen by a Saints corner. It was a beautiful throw, a beautiful catch. If you asked me last week, Bryce played a clean game. It was fantastic to watch this offense last week really go to work. I get it. The Saints aren't a good team, but really showed out, really took out their division rival after the bloodbath it was in week one, the 47-10 loss in New Orleans. Completely different team this time around. And now we go to Germany to take on the Giants, another 2-7 team who has really not done very much at all this year. I'm tempted to go Carolina again this week. I took them last week. I was a little skeptical. This week, not as much. I believe in this group a little more. And listen, looking at our schedule, this might be our last winnable game of the season. This may be my last chance to pick Carolina this year. So I'm going to cash it in. I'm going to do it. But I genuinely do think we can beat this Giants team. We just got to lock in, play hard as a team, get one victory here. And I think going into the bye with 3 wins would be spectacular. After 2 weeks ago, if you would ask me, I would have said we would have gone 1-16, whatever it is. So I'll take Carolina.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree once again. I think this is much closer than I might make it seem, but I'm going to take the Giants. I think Brian Burns might have a sack or two, somewhat of a revenge game. That's just an interesting
Right.
storyline to follow. Um, Poor Germany, they're stuck with this game. No offense, Adam. I will not lose any sleep if you continue to gain some ground on us by picking the Panthers to win and being right. I will certainly be happy for you. But if I was a betting man, which I'm not, but I like being right, I'm going with the Giants.
Go ahead, Dante. I'll be right back, but I'm listening.
I'm gonna agree with Luke. The main reason is the Giants' pass rush is one of the best in the league. They lead the league in sacks. That goes under the radar. And Carolina's offensive line isn't anything spectacular. Um, and for the past 2 weeks, another reason why I'm picking the Giants, they've been running the ball great. They ran the ball pretty well against Pittsburgh a couple weeks ago, and they ran it well, and they played pretty competitively against a good Washington team who has a good defensive line. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go with the Giants here. I think they're gonna control the clock, pound the ball, and yeah, I think New York's gonna get out of Germany with a W. Sorry, Adam.
All right, boys. Well, it's all right. I hope you're okay with being wrong for another week.
Says the
Well,
one in the basement.
one thing you were right about, Dante, their pass rush is on another level for some reason. Dexter Lawrence is playing like the defensive player of the year. It's been very impressive.
Yeah, and that was on display whenever I saw them play a couple weeks ago on Monday night.
Yeah.
So yeah,
All right. 1 o'clock slate. Luke.
I am probably going to go with the Bears, but I don't have a problem with what I saw this past week from the Patriots. I I could talk all day and drool about that play that Drake made to send the game into overtime. I don't know how he saw Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know how Ramondre Stevenson got to the spot. I'm just off topic. I'm just gonna mention my voice sounds a little bit hoarse. Just off the fact that here in State College it was like 40 degrees over the weekend and like 75 degrees on Monday. So my body doesn't know what to think about the temperature. So I've been a little under the weather. But back to football. Drake May, two main takeaways right now. He needs to learn how to slide, first of all. And second of all, he's committing a little bit more turnovers than you would like to see, but I don't really have a problem with that. When he let me put this into perspective. The Patriots offense on Sunday had a total of 315 yards. Drake May had a total of 301 yards. So he's not only out rushing Ramondre Stevenson, he's out rushing the entire team. He is our offense is absolutely nothing without him. Don't ask me how we beat the Jets. Um, it I've been seeing a lot of promising signs from him, a lot of good takeaways, but I don't think the team is where it needs to be winning more than just the games against the bottom feeders of the league. And the Bears have not done enough to separate themselves from the below average class of the league for me, especially keeping around their coach. But I think that this is still probably a week where, especially on the road, we are just they're too talented for us to deal with at this point.
I could go, Adam.
Yeah, go ahead.
Um, Before I give my pick, I just want to say, Luke, um, for the Patriots, bringing up something you mentioned, since you guys are, I'm sure you would say that you're in a rebuilding state right now, trying to get back
Yeah,
to contention. I think, though it may not seem good right now, if your rookie quarterback is keeping you in games and you say you're nothing without him, I think that's a pretty good thing. I mean, obviously you don't want this kid to get burnt out, but like that shows that you guys will be able to build around him and add pieces around him and build that offense up. So the fact that he's playing well early with less pieces around him, I think that's a really good thing for you
it's
guys.
it's it's certainly rewarding. I can trust we have our guy,
Hmm.
but
I'm sure that's frustrating.
he
That
needs some help.
Yeah, totally.
And right now, I don't know where it's going to come from because we own the number one pick, but I don't really need the number one pick because wide receivers. First of all, I'm surprised we didn't trade KJ Osborne. Um, we have so many useless wide receivers like KJ Osborne, with all due respect, and with less respect, Tyquan Thornton and some other guys. We have all these wide receiver twos just stockpiled. Kendrick Bourne, Jalen Polk, who hasn't shown enough, Devon Baker, who hasn't seen the field. Pop Douglas, who has been a great connection, but he can't be a wide receiver one. Hunter Henry has been keeping Drake May afloat, but I don't think the weapons are necessarily a huge problem, especially with a running back who's just paid and committed to. The offensive line is a complete mess. He has no time to throw, but I've been really impressed with his physicality and his pocket presence and keeping plays alive. I said the thing about how he needs to learn how to slide, but I don't know where that help is going to come from. I know people like matching Travis Hunter to us. That's fine. I would not have any problem with trading into the middle of the first round from our number one and back into the late first round, like trading one for 5 and 30 or something, and taking the best tackle available and then taking a late first round wide receiver or something. But that's a conversation for another time. The point is that he really needs help. Drake May is our entire offense, but to your point, yes, at least we know that we have someone that's that reliable.
With that being said, I'm going to go with Chicago here. And it's not, I think Caleb Williams is doing a fairly decent job. Um, Not quite to where you want to be as a number one pick, but decent enough to keep the Bears in games and even win them some games. I also think the Bears defense is playing very well. They played well a couple weeks ago in a game they should have won against Washington, where they only held them to 12 points before uh, the incredible Hail Mary Jane Daniels threw up to Noah Brown. Um, but yeah, I'll go with the Bears here.
Yeah. Sorry, Luke. I think I'm going to clean sweep here. I was actually considering picking the Patriots, but on second thought, um, you were saying Drake May doesn't have a lot of help. And I mean, the Bears are the better team. Yes, they've struggled, but this could be a nice get back game for Chicago, as I like to call it best. That being said, I think the Patriots could make it interesting, but I am going to take the Bears, especially with them being at home. But we'll see. Anything can happen. But yeah, I'll say Chicago. Moving on, we got another interesting one. San Francisco and Tampa Bay. Both teams still missing some players out for the season or on IR. I do believe there's a chance Christian McCaffrey makes his return this game, but nothing is confirmed. I did see he's back at practice. I think they're just going step by step with him. But I'll start for this one. I'm going to go with the Niners on the road. It was really a toss up because both quarterbacks, I think, have been playing really good football this year, especially Brock Purdy. Dante, I know you think he's a system guy, but he's shown
Hey,
some
he's been
good.
playing well. He's been playing well this year. I
He is
can't Brock
playing.
Purdy.
Yeah, he is showing some good play this year, especially with the injuries the Niners have. They have not been the Niners we expected them to be, but I think this is going to be one of those games where it's a dogfight throughout the whole game. Could come down to a field goal at the end, could come down to a touchdown. And I trust Brock and the Niners weapons a little more in a game-winning drive than I do with the Bucks and Baker and their weapons, especially with no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin. They're really relying on Kate Otten with the receiving, really putting a heavy focus on their running backs, where the Niners can still, no matter who it is, just attack you through the air. They've got Juwan Jennings. I believe they still have Kittle and Debo. Um, that's maybe my new nickname for the two of them. But yeah, nothing else really needs to be said. I'll go Niners. I think this is also just going to be a straight out coaching. Shanahan out coaches. Who's their coach? Bowles.
Todd Bowles.
So yeah,
This is tough. Um, I have Tampa Bay circled as my upset of the week.
you want to go with it?
Yeah, I do. I'm gonna go with it.
All
You know,
right.
going with my gut. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a San Francisco hater. Half of it's joking, half of it's, jealousy that we drafted Kenny Pickett first round and Brock Purdy got drafted in the seventh round. Part of it's jealousy, but nah. I think Tampa Bay played Kansas City really well um, up until overtime. Baker and that offense was moving the ball well in a tough environment against a Spagnuolo defense. that's been playing really, really good this year. Um, I like what I see from Tampa Bay. Adam, you brought up a name, and I was very impressed watching him live. Cade Otton. He's been playing very, very good ball. And yeah, he makes good contested catches, gets run after the catch, and gets open consistently. And I think he's going to be a key piece in this game. So yeah, I think Tampa Bay is my upset. So I'll go with them.
That's fair. I'm rolling with Adam and his 49ers. I as well watched that game against the Chiefs. They played them much closer to the chest than I imagined they would, and Baker looked good despite the lack of weapons now. But I think that they also probably, excuse me, probably played about as good as they possibly could have played, and it wasn't enough for the Super Bowl champions. I don't think it'll be enough for the Super Bowl uh, losers, who I will say have not been playing up to their potential. It's very unlikely Christian McCaffrey is back this week, although he is back to practicing. Um, the Buccaneers almost played perfect against the Chiefs. They're going to have to almost play perfect, I think, to beat the 49ers. I don't see it happening with the defense the way they've been playing. I know, like you said, Spags defense has been playing really well too, obviously. But as much as I love Baker Mayfield, and I really do, I think we all do. It's not always going to be as smooth sailing as it was last week in this period of this year that he's going to have to go without a major weapon. So I'm going to go with the 49ers here.
All right. Moving on here. We got the Broncos against the Fighting Taylor Swifts. Shout out Emily Wendell if you're watching. We love
My,
Emily.
my
Um,
favorite. Yeah.
anyways, I'm not going to waste too much time on this one. And I'm going to try the whole week 1 thing. The Broncos aren't a good team, y'all. Don't don't fall for it. I'm not a Bo Nix believer. I promise you. He's not that good. They got smacked last week in Baltimore, whether that was expected or not. And I don't think that's going to change this week. Sure, maybe they make it a closer game. Insert that LeBron gif, the one. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, Kansas City. This is not my lock of the week, but I think it's pretty much guaranteed to happen. So,
Yep.
and I want to add one more thing. When is the last time Denver beat Kansas City in Arrowhead? It's been a
Last
while.
year.
Wait, was it last year?
Yeah, Russ beat him.
I thought that was in Denver.
Oh, wasn't it in Denver?
No, I could be wrong. I don't know.
I think it was in Denver. I think you're
Okay.
right.
Well, anyways, they're not winning this game. It doesn't matter. If you're right, you're right. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
I'm looking it up, so Luke, you could go.
Well, what I know and what I did look up is that Patrick Mahomes in his career is 12-1 against the Broncos. So if it did happen last year, wherever it happened, it's certainly not anything more than a rarity. And I have absolutely no problem picking the undefeated Chiefs to continue rolling, who, like you said, have been scoring enough to beat some offenses who have been playing really well, despite a defense who has still been just suffocating quarterbacks. And Bo Nix, the Broncos have looked better than we all expected. That is true. They still got spanked by the Ravens, and I think they're going to get a similar treatment this week at the hands of the defending champs in Arrowhead.
I have the answer, and the Broncos haven't won an Arrowhead in 12 years, so I'm going to go with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Since 2012.
Excuse me. In fact, I'll just make this my lock of the week. The Chiefs are my lock of the week last week, and they made me proud, and I have no problem rolling with them very confidently.
Cool.
Broncos country, let's cry.
Hey, Russ is free.
Yeah.
All right. Rematch of the 2020 NFL wildcard weekend here. For those who remember the classic Philip Rivers and Josh Allen matchup. Bills and Colts. I just want to say,
The classic.
for thinking about it some more, I'm not sure I agree with benching Anthony Richardson. Joe Flacco, I get it. Experienced vet. Had his little run last year, but last week, didn't look good. And all the stats are proving that Anthony Richardson out there, sure, Anthony Richardson's had a rough season, but it's not that different. It wouldn't have made a difference with Richardson out there versus Flacco. And spoiler alert, I have the Bills winning this game, probably by a lot. And I don't think it's going to make a difference with whatever quarterbacks out there. Richardson versus Flacco. I mean, I'm still going to take the Bills in this game pretty easily. So just wanted to make that point.
Yeah.
I have to agree. I remember seeing on Twitter some stat like the Shane Steichen Colts are 7-6 with Anthony Richardson and 7-6 with anybody else, and averaging like 22 points with Anthony Richardson and like 23 points with anybody else. So I'm starting to agree. I don't really see why. I can see why they did it. I can't see why they're being so adamant about it being for the whole season. We're gonna see. I think this is gonna be a disaster for them this week. I have the Bills by a lot. You
I'm
said
going to go with
Bills,
the
Luke?
Bill. What was that?
I said you said the Bills, Luke.
yes.
Okay.
And I'm going to go with the Bills too as my lock of the week. But I stand by my claim that Joe Flacco is the best quarterback on this roster. He had one bad game. He'll be all right. After this game, he'll pick it up. I still think he's very capable. And if you give the guy time in the pocket, he's gonna strike and put points up on the board. And Anthony Richardson jogs off the field because he gets tired. Hmm. But
Hey, we'll see. I forgot
no,
about that whole tired thing, but that's insane.
that was a big Richardson guy coming into this year, but he has not been good. But
Yeah, it really let me down.
I just feel for Jonathan Taylor. I think if he was put in a better
I
situation,
just, I don't know about Anthony Richardson, man. I'm getting tired of defending him.
yeah, I agree.
Do you get it?
I get it.
Good. All right. Go ahead, Dante.
Yeah, Pittsburgh going into FedEx Field to play the Washington Commanders, who I think this is one of the games of the week, to be honest with you. And
Game of the week.
one of the tougher games to pick. And if you would have told me in week one that this would be a candidate for game of the week, I would not have believed you. But you know, everybody wants to talk about uh, you know, the Commanders' offense in this game, and it has been very good, putting up. I think their points per game is towards the top of the league, playing one of the best defenses in the league, where I think their points per game is either second or first. Um, yeah, this is like unstoppable force versus immovable object type thing. Um, but a couple stats that I saw this morning. Um, The Commanders' run defense is really, really bad. I think they rank like 29th in the league, and their pass defense is like 26th or 27th. They're giving up a lot of points, and I mean they're giving up a lot of yards and a lot of points. Specifically, a lot of yards in the run game. And what's one thing Najee Harris and the Steelers have been doing well these past few weeks, uh, running the ball. Najee Harris, three straight 100-yard games. Um, I I may be biased, but man, I like the Steelers. I think coming off the bye, Mike Tomlin is always really good coming off the bye, giving Russell Wilson a new target with Mike Williams, taking some pressure off George Pickens. Um, I think it's going to be high scoring. I predict like a maybe 28-24 Steeler win.
That's what I was thinking you were gonna say. Not gonna lie.
Really?
As
Yeah.
soon as I heard high scoring, I heard 28. I'm like, watch he says 24.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's what it could be. Would surprise me and make me upset if Washington won this game. No, but really what I'm looking for is the Steelers to be competitive throughout all four quarters because this is the best team they played all year, I think. And going on the road, if you could compete and be in this game and put points up on the board and have your defense step up when it needs to, regardless if you win or lose, I'll take that. Just prove that you could be with the upper echelon of teams in the NFL. Um, but I'm gonna ride with my boys. I'm gonna go Pittsburgh.
Luke, me or you?
Yeah, I can go because so am I, and it's going to be a bit reluctant because honestly, I'm not sure that the Steelers defense. I think there might be a few too many holes to contain the Washington offense. Just because you look up and down the Steelers defense, there's names. And there are people who aren't expected to be playing super well, like Beanie Bishop. But a part of me wonders how much of that is right place, right time. And some guys like Minky, you want to be playing a little bit better. Um, we're going to see how the new additions fit in. But I think they have enough firepower to get it done. I think for once, finally, the Steelers can outscore teams that are going to make it hard on them. And that is the difference is here. I have a professor who I've talked to multiple times because he is a Cowboys fan and he is like a Mike Tomlin guy. He's like, I don't understand how anybody has a problem with Mike Tomlin. He would sell his soul for Mike Tomlin to coach the Cowboys. And so I've talked to him a couple of times about how, well, Steelers fans a little bit tired of 10-7 and wild card losses, the playoff wins in 7 years. But I told him after excuse me, Steelers last win that I think he's making me a believer in what they're doing this year, what they're building, what the offense is looking like with Russell Wilson. They're moving the ball. He has a touch to get those 50-50 balls to George Pickens. I'm excited to see what Mike Williams is going to be able to do. I'm excited to see who that opens up on the offense. I am shocked with the resurgence of Najee Harris physically. Um, he's putting up the numbers, but he has never run with the agility that he has the past couple weeks in his Steelers career. It has never happened with the agility that we're seeing right now. So I think, bottom line, I'm impressed with the Steelers offense. So I think they have enough firepower to outlast a team with a questionable defense, but a soaring offense right now in Washington, even on the road. This isn't 2020 anymore. It's not the 11-0 Steelers getting humbled by Taylor Heineke. This is different. It's different circumstances. It's different mentalities on both sides, I think. Um, and I think the Steelers they know that they're fighting to starve off what's going to be a really difficult second stretch of the season. And another win keeps them in first place. It's important. So reluctantly, I'm going the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Thank you, Luke.
You're welcome.
Well, sorry guys. I gotta do it. I gotta make it a clean sweep. I'm going Pittsburgh as well. And this is my upset of the week only because I needed an upset of the week. Looking at this schedule, it was really hard to come up with one, and the Commanders are favored. So I will gladly claim it as my upset because I think I'm going to be right in the end.
They can't be favored by too much. Maybe like
It's
two
like a
points.
point, but I'm going to go out on a whim here and say the Steelers should be favored. Think they may have the better defense, maybe not the better offense. They got the better coach, that's for sure. Listen, I get he's having a good year. I'm still not a big Dan Quinn guy. I'm not convinced. But anyways, I think the Steelers will win. But moving on to a game that should take rather quick to predict here. Vikings.
Vikings.
Yeah, especially because I think I saw that Trevor Lawrence is questionable. This is pretty easy.
They're a mess, bro.
They're a total. I don't know how Doug Peterson has lasted this long.
Yeah.
I guess because of us, because they beat us. But what a mess, Vikings.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, that was
Want
easy.
to move on?
Yep. I don't feel like talking about the Jaguars long.
Coach is not lasting long. Real quick, I want to say shout out to Panthers Nation for getting Dennis Allen fired. We did a good job with that.
Speaking of which,
Yeah. That being said, the Saints are not a good football team. Gee, I wonder who called that all the way back in week 1.
You backtracked for a second.
I did, but then I went
words a
back
little
on that
bit.
belief. Come on, let's be real. They all had us fooled when
To
they
be
were.
fair, nobody knew the Cowboys would be such poverty to where them getting trounced like that. It was still surprising in week 2. So
It looked way more impressive than it actually was, but
yes.
Anyways,
So Falcons or Saints.
Falcons.
yeah, Falcons.
This one's easy.
Happy for Kirk. He's playing
Great.
decent.
Kirk is playing
Yeah,
good.
I don't like the Falcons, but how can you hate Kirk Cousins, man? He's a good guy. Christian.
Darnell Mooney is one of the surprises of the year.
Drake London playing good ball.
Kyle Pitts is doing nothing as usual.
Yeah, I like Drake London. He's good.
I know, I know. All
Uh,
right.
is Chris Olave playing in this game?
Good
I
question.
I I'd be shocked.
I I wouldn't if I was him.
I mean, it was the kind of injury where it was like Twitter says he has movement in his extremities injury. So I would be kind of shocked.
He's
Yeah.
okay, like he's tweeting and stuff, but I well, okay.
That's our measurement. Is he tweeting?
Means he's alert and he's doing any normal person things.
I wish he'd tweet and it'd just be like a keyboard match. I'm sorry.
Anyways, I don't think no, you're good. I don't think he should play this week, even if he is projected to. Just don't waste time in a game you're not going to win.
Agreed.
Gotta feel bad for the guy though.
Agreed.
Former Buckeye. I hate to see it. On to 4 p.m. though. We've got a real thriller here. Titans and Chargers. Is Mason Rudolph still the guy for Tennessee? I believe.
He should be.
I will say it's unfortunate to see he hasn't played as well. I really wish he'd be doing a little better. I like Mason Rudolph.
I did too. Yeah.
That being said, this game should be easy. Another win for the Chargers.
Agreed.
Yeah, I agree. After last week, I you know, I have my frustrations with losing that game, but it didn't show me anything about the Titans that I didn't already know. Other than against a weak run defense, Tony Pollard can have his way, but the Chargers are not a weak run defense. So I will take John Harbaugh over whoever the coach even is, who I don't remember his name, and so maybe he's not even last year. That's my hot take. I think their coach might not last a year.
Who Callahan?
Yeah.
I agree with you. I don't think
Never got rid of Rabel.
Shouldn't have gotten rid of
Never got rid
Vrabel.
of Rabel.
I
still
think
don't get
Vrabel will
why.
be I think Vrabel would be good for New Orleans, but
He's in Cleveland right now, bro. He made a horrible choice.
yeah.
Well, not even his fault that he got fired, but yeah. Anyway, let's move on.
This, in my opinion, Jets Cardinals is the toughest game to predict this week.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I am 50-50 on this one. I don't know. I straight up don't know.
I'm Cardinals easy, to be honest.
All
They've been
right.
playing good ball past couple weeks. I like the Cardinals. I think they're going to be a sneaky playoff team.
They're winning the division right now.
Yeah, yeah, I really like the Cardinals. I like Kyler Murray. He's having a sneaky good year. I wish I saw more from Marvin
Well,
Harrison.
don't forget the new Call of Duty is out, so
New Call of Duty's out, so the Jets might win this game. But
they might.
nah, I like Arizona here, and the Jets are really in shambles right now. Just lost their best
I don't
receiver,
know.
Steelers. Um, yeah, I like Arizona.
Um, Look, I like Arizona too. You guys know that. I don't think this is that easy, especially when there's some dark magic involved of the new Call of Duty just came out. RFK is going to have a cabinet position.
Rogers,
Aaron Rodgers,
ayahuasca. Yeah.
maybe Aaron Rodgers. Did you hear that what did he say? Not coconut water, but Greg Zerline introduced him to the Fountain of Youth. I forget what he said it was. Seriously, I'm gonna look it up now because I forget what
I
it
know.
was.
I saw that. I saw that. What?
Um,
He is off a bean or something. He's insane.
I'll tell you what he's off of. What was it? Cayenne pepper
Cayenne
water.
pepper and ayahuasca, like some psychedelics and shit.
Yeah.
Anyway,
A little fountain of youth, he says. Thanks to Greg Zerline, who when I need the fountain of youth, my head goes straight to Greg Zerline.
bro will
Anyways,
do anything but watch film. That's insane.
anyways, um, I used the word reluctant already once. I'm going to use it again when I pick the Cardinals because I like them and I want them to win this game. And I like Jonathan Gannon and I like Kyle Murray, even though Marvin Harrison Jr. has been playing very frustrating. Trey McBride has been good. James Conner's been good. I know that the Jets wide receivers have all been playing good, except for that bum who just got shipped off to the Three Rivers. What's his name? No, I'm just kidding. Um,
Yeah, I don't know. I forget.
I don't like anything about the Jets, and I can make this pick and be comfortable with it, so I'm going to. Cardinals.
All right, well, I've made my decision. I'll make it quick. Jets, Jets, Jets. Just kidding. Give me the Cardinals.
I somehow knew that you're going to. As soon as you started saying Jets, I was like, well, he's picking the Cardinals. I
I
knew
was
that
waiting
was
you
one of
would
your
catch on
things.
to that. That's okay.
That's all right. All right, next.
Um, but yeah, y'all convinced me. So, and I was leaning Arizona anyway. All right. Da 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 da. Lock of the week. Give me Philly.
I doubted the heck out of the Cowboys. Not the Cowboys, excuse me, the Eagles. I said they would lose to the Giants, and since then they have looked their best. Although they almost choked last week, but after what Saquon pulled, there was no way they were losing that game, and there's no way they're losing this game.
The only reason this game is in 425 slate is because this is known for a historic rivalry. Philadelphia will win this game by double digits pretty easily.
Yeah, as Dak said, they fucking suck. They're they're bad, bro.
Yes, in case you
Now,
missed it, Dak was caught on the sideline
yeah.
mouthing "we effing suck," and
Now Dak is on IR.
now he's on IR,
Dak's on IR.
he's going to be,
How did I miss that? What?
which
That
prompted
was
Jerry Jones to trade a
yesterday.
fourth round pick for a wide receiver who might have 400 receiving yards in his career.
Hey, Mingo was so good in college. He was really good. Anyway, um,
So
man, he's on IR.
The Cowboys offense is Cooper Rush. I guess
Rico
Zeke,
Dowdle.
Rico Dowdle. I think CD Lamb might be hurt too.
How did we lose to this team, bro?
Bingo. Oh my God, I forgot you guys lost to them.
We should be 7-1 right now.
Tolbert is there too. Jake Ferguson. Oh man.
We lost to the Cowboys at home.
If Philly loses this game, Sirianni should be fired on the spot.
Yeah,
Well, obviously that's going to happen because
I don't think it's gonna happen either.
he's going to win. All right.
I don't like Sirianni as a guy, but I think Eagle fans kind of overreact when it comes to winning
They
the
do. They do. He's not the worst, but
like he took you to a Super Bowl and you've been competitive ever since. But like, yeah, I
I
don't
think the only overreaction they've made recently is giving Doug Peterson a statue.
know. They gave
So
Doug Peterson a statue.
they gave the Philly special a statue. So there's a statue of him like with a clipboard, like mouthing something to Nick Foles.
Well, that's cool, I guess.
It's cool, but you gave a statue to Doug Peterson and Nick Foles. All right.
The fact that Doug Peterson and Nick Foles got a statue before Ben Roethlisberger is insane. That's nuts. Oh my God. Anyway, yeah, one of the most iconic plays in Super Bowl history. But let's move on. Yeah, Eagles clean sweep here.
Sunday night football. We got a nice matchup here. The Texans against the Lions. Houston will be debuting their Battle Red, I guess, reworked jersey. They had it last year, but they have the new jerseys this year. So this is an interesting one. I mean, I think I know who we're all gonna go with, but it's still an interesting one.
I'm taking Detroit. I think Detroit's the best team in the league right now. They could beat anybody by 10 plus points. They're ridiculous.
I agree with you. I'm gonna take Detroit as well.
So am I. It has a lot to do with the injuries for the Texans as well.
Yeah.
Losing the Jets, it's deflating. I think it's either the Ravens or the Lions are best team in the league right now, which is crazy to say because the Chiefs are undefeated. They've been doing just enough to win every single week. But I agree, Lions.
Cool. Last one.
All right, we are down to one more game to predict this week. We've got the Dolphins and the Rams on Monday Night Football. Why is this game a Monday Night Football game? Steelers and Commanders would be a much better Monday Night Football game. Anyways, Rams, I guess. Dolphins are just I don't know what to think about them right now.
It looks better,
Yeah.
but I still don't care for them.
Rams are playing well. So I'll give LA some credit and I'll pick them to win here.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I'll take the Rams too.
Yeah, that was easy.
Clean sweeping.
Cool.
Do you
That
come up
was
with
a quick
starting
one.
sit, Luke?
Yeah, I do have them. Just give me one second.
I'm gonna use the bathroom real quick while you do that, Luke.
Go ahead.
I
For those
apologize,
listening,
boys.
in case it wasn't clear, um, Lucas claimed his upset of the week to be Pittsburgh over Washington.
Yeah, I guess I didn't take another one, so
It's all right. Happens.
that'll work. All right. My stardom situm. I, for the first time and for the last time, did not have a set last week. I know we didn't have an episode, and I just didn't get around to declaring any, but it's fine. I have it back for you this week. Quarterbacks start Patrick Mahomes versus Denver. He's 12-1 against them. Like I said, he's coming off of an actual good fantasy performance or two, which you would think he'd be allergic to defend, which you think he'd be allergic to if you've had him on your team this year. But he's actually been a safe start recently. Sit Joe Flacco. I don't care what magic you think he still has. Didn't show up in fantasy last week. I don't plan on it showing up this week. And waiver wire pickup Kyler Murray. He averages almost 17 points. He's still available in 10% of the leagues. They have a decently easy fantasy playoff schedule. I would pick up Kyler Murray. Running backs, I would start Jonathan Taylor against Buffalo. I told you one other time to sit him. That was against Pittsburgh. He went off. He's been pretty safe lately. I would sit Javonte Williams of the Broncos against KC. It's a safe bet to sit a lot of people against the Spags defense, but especially Javonte Williams has not shown much inspiring production throughout the entire year. And waiver wire pickup Rico Dowdle, just because the Cowboys are so crippled and pathetic. He has had a decent amount of production this year. He averages 12.5. And he's only picked up in two out of three leagues on average. Wide receivers, I'd start Drake London versus the Saints. I understand somehow that Darnell Mooney has been outperforming him, but I don't think that is going to last that long. And Drake London, despite that, has still looked good. I would sit Marvin Harrison Jr. against the Jets. It frustrates the heck out of me. I've declined many a very good trade offer for him this year, and he has rewarded me with a couple like 3-point weeks. So until he turns it around, I guess I would sit him. And waiver wire pickup, as I mentioned, Darnell Mooney, who has been playing great, and he's still not picked up in 10% of the leagues. He's averaging about 15. And finally, your tight ends. I would start Evan Ingram versus the Vikings. Brock Bowers is on bye this week, which makes tight ends even thinner. But Evan Ingram has been putting up good numbers since coming back this season. I would sit Dalton Schultz versus Detroit. The bottom line is, with all of their weapons out, if Dalton Schultz was going to have a role in this offense in Houston, it would have happened already. Despite that, he is still only crawling his way to around 2 catches for 30 yards a game. It's just not happening for him this year, as much as I hate to say, because I liked him going into this year. But waiver wire pickup T.J. Hawkinson, who has played one game, didn't do much, but that's a point that he just came off of IR, and so he will start to gel with this Vikings offense. That's what I got for you this week.
Cool. Dante, we got a bold prediction.
Mike Williams touchdown.
Nice.
Gotta
I can't
go.
wait for the video you send us on Sunday of you screen recording this episode. Look, guys, I called it again.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I hate to see so many people just hating on the trade, saying like they needed someone to complement William or no, that is Williams. What am I saying? They needed someone to complement Pickens, yet they got someone who does the same thing as Pickens. Like people are dismissing the fact the Steelers needed another wide receiver. I'm not criticizing Pittsburgh here, but I don't think you could roll into the playoffs with Van Jefferson as your wide receiver too. You
Totally.
need somebody else.
And
And a fifth round pick for a rental, it's a fifth round pick. Who cares?
we have two of them. We have
Yeah.
two of them. So we just traded one. And another thing, they act like these guys don't do anything else besides catching 50-50 balls. GB he could play any kind of receiver role you want him to, except maybe like a Tyreek or a Calvin Austin role. since they are the same player. Um, but yeah, I think they'll complement each other well. And like defenses have to, respect Mike Williams and respect GP. They didn't really have to respect, Van Jefferson. I think adding Mike Williams will not only take pressure off GP, but also open up Calvin Austin over the middle of the field in the slot. So yeah, I like this move. People are like, this move doesn't move the needle. I think it's gonna work wonders. But
I
we shall
agree.
see. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Mike Williams won't do anything and he'll be another Dante Moncrief. I really hope not, but we shall see.
I'm personally not convinced, but
Dante.
I'm certainly open to be proven wrong. I'm not convinced that it's going to go either way. I think it could be fine. I think it could kind of be a non-factor. It's just going to depend on what was hidden behind two or three other guys in New York that Aaron Rodgers didn't really feel like targeting him because I think he's certainly better than Alan Lazard, who's getting over targeted, and you know, he's been really force feeding it to Garrett Wilson lately and Devontae Adams. It's just not a good idea to go there. Even Conklin has caught some end zone balls, but I could go either way for me. But I agree the Steelers need to do something.
I think the floor is going to be what we had in Van Jefferson, you know?
Yeah, I can agree with that. It doesn't, it's not gonna be that bad, but I just wonder how much it's gonna really change things.
Yeah, and we were putting up 30 plus points, before we got Mike Williams. I don't think it could get much worse with him. But yeah, we shall see. Should be a good
All right.
game.
I will say if that about does it, I did email you guys back a picture of the um Philly special statue. If you want to pull that up, you
Let me
can
see.
feel free just
Hold
if you
on.
can.
I will say one more thing about the Steelers. I will never doubt their ability to make trades again because they got a second for Chase Claypool.
True. Very true.
That reset the market there.
All right, hold on.
I don't think it was the best picture, but
There it is.
yeah, I think this is like brand new. Nick Foles and Doug Peterson.
That's a cool
Cool.
statue.
It's
It
cool.
is.
Yeah.
But where is it? Like, is it like
I
in a
don't really
parking
know.
lot? I mean, like it's right
I don't
next
really
to a
know.
Bud Light truck. Oh, it's presented by Bud
Bud
Light.
Light thing. Donated by Bud Light.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's
Good.
cool, but
Yeah, love it.
anyway.
Anyway, I think that
All right,
does it.
everybody. This wraps it for us. Episode 9. Thank you all for tuning in. Adam,
Dante.
And Luke.
I will see y'all next week. Have a good week, y'all.